glad you're back. We're back here behind the shop where I keep a few of my trucks, and we're going to get the 88 W150 fired up and get it out of here because it's time to start working on this truck and get ready to drive this fall and this winter. So let's watch the show intro. We'll see you in about 30 seconds. I'm Mike, and this is my car's shop.
Working out of a 100-year-old refurbished barn, bringing 35 years of experience to projects considered beyond repair. Vision, creativity, and problem solving are essential tools in this place. Watch as we transform junk into polished metal miracles. This is my car's shop.
This vehicle is one that has only been on the channel once. We did a Will It Run after several years, and I'm not sure how many years it had been sitting at that point, 2, 4, 5, I don't know. I stopped driving this truck when I blew a brake line. It was my daily, and I realized that the gas mileage on this is horrible. I mean, like 8 miles to the gallon, horrible. So I wasn't driving it much because at the time I was living like 35 or 40 miles from where I was working and plus doing a lot of traveling. And so I actually started driving the 74 Swinger for a while until I picked up that 2002 Ram truck. Now all of these trucks back here are trucks that need work. That 2002 is actually my snowplow truck. The 92 over there is an interesting truck, and maybe we'll talk about that sometime. That's a TBI 318 in 1992, and if you know anything about 1992, that should be a Magnum, so we'll talk about that sometime. Teaser, teaser. But we want to get the 88 fired up for a couple of reasons. Like I said, we want to get it out so we can get it on the road this fall, but also our friend Eric over at Duddie's Adventures had a couple questions and wanted some input on his project that he's working on his 3 W150, W250. He's got a truck. It's a TBI, and he's done some work on the fuel system, and he had a few questions, and I thought, what a great opportunity to answer his questions while dragging this thing out and forcing myself to get moving on something that I've been procrastinating on. So why don't I just shut up? I mean, good Lord, we've got to get after the project. All I do is talk and talk and talk. Oh, that's nasty. Oh, I think we have some mice. Oh. Oh, yeah, we got some work to do in there. That thing stinks. So, first thing I want to do is get it fired up. Then we got to get around and get some air in the tires so that it can lift itself up out of the hole that it's in. But let's get a battery in it and get it fired up here and make sure it runs. Probably going to have to give it a little help down the throttle body. Hopefully the pump's running. I can't hear it. The battery doesn't have a lot of oomph to it, so that's kind of troublesome. But let's go get a little gasoline. A lot of these Will It Run shows use brake clean or carb spray. I'm not a fan of that because that stuff dries out the cylinders and can actually cause scoring. So I really like using a little gas and oil mix. So this is just some gasoline with just a touch of oil in it. Hopefully be enough there to get it to fire. Hasn't had a battery in it for a long time, so the learn cycle on the ECU has to happen. It's going to take a bit. We'll get it. Probably take 4 or 5 start cycles and running for 5 minutes or so. Smell something burning underneath, so that's unique. I don't think it's anything to be worried about. Try to get out here this time and crack the throttle. I can hear the injector squirting, so the fuel pump's working. Turbo end noise, that's normal for this engine. Gas gauge is on below empty, so I don't know how much gas is in it. It's going to start and run, obviously, so I want to get some tires pumped up and see if we can get it out of the hole. I'm not intending to pump the tires up all the way. We'll just put a little bit of air in them just so it's not riding on the rims, and then we'll probably have to drop it in low lock to get it out of here. Started as good as always when it's been sitting that long, so that's fine. We're just going in the shop to get the air tank now, get the tires pumped up. You can go from there. Like I said, just a little bit of air till I can get it up to the front of the shop and get the big air hose on it. All right, I checked the tires and one of them's still up, so we only have 3 to put air in. That's good. Hopefully the beads are still sealed. If not, that's going to really suck. Very good. Very good. Very good. 2 down, 1 to go. All right, we've got 2 of them done. And again, I'm just putting enough air in them to make sure that the beads are seated because I don't want to move it and have the bead come off. So 1 more to do. Just went and pumped the tank up again, and we'll get this last one done, and then we can move the truck, hopefully. This one actually has a little bit of air still in it, so that's good. I thought there was 2 that always held air, but it's been sitting quite a while, and I would have to air them up twice a year or so. So been sitting back here for so long I haven't even looked at it. Yeah, the main thing is keeping them on the bead. just enough air to get them up to the shop, and we can put them back up to 50 or 60 pounds or whatever. These tires are absolutely shot. So it's one of the things we're going to need to do is get new tires on it. But I'm either going to get another set of wheels or I want to sandblast these and paint them. Quite frankly, I'm just leaning towards finding another set of wheels. So maybe I'll contact my buddy John. He's a big truck guy. See if he has anything on a 5x5.5 rim that's in decent shape. These are mangles. They were chrome. They used to be really nice, but they've obviously been neglected. I'd rather do aluminum because then you don't have to keep cleaning them. But painted would be all right, I guess. I don't really want white wheels on this, though. Those look kind of gaudy on a black truck. All right, our next step is to move it. I mentioned this before, but for those who haven't seen the other episode on this truck, that topper goes on that truck, but it's on this truck because there's a bunch of parts in the back that I wanted to protect from the weather. So it'll come off of here as soon as I get those parts out of there, which is going to be soon, and then that will go back on that truck where it belongs. So that's why it looks weird. It's just a place to store it and protect the parts that are underneath it. All right, let's start this thing. That thing is loaded up with really, really bad old gas. Fortunately, it's almost empty, so better check this thing. I'm smoking a lot. Oh, it smells like old crap burning off. Spider webs, cobwebs, and mouse nests burning off, and a little bit of oil. So we'll take the blow gun out after it cools down, blow all that crap off. Lots of oil on the valve cover on this side and down on the manifold, so that's what a lot of it is. It'll be fine. We'll just pretend we didn't see that. So on to the questions that Eric had been asking about my 88 truck and just these trucks in general. What have I done to the fuel system? Everything. Dropped the tank, put a new fuel pump in it, replaced the lines that were bad, replaced the rubber, all of that stuff. And I see that the rubber hoses here are still okay, but we went through and upgraded all the fuel system. A former employee of mine in my tech business also used to be a mechanic in the military, so he came out and helped me, and we got all of that done. So a couple of pointers here, and I'll show you a couple things in the shop for tools. TBI systems are approximately 12 to 17 PSI. Don't quote me on that. They're no more than 20. I believe that the blow off on the pump is 30 or 50. Throttle body injected engines don't require a huge amount of fuel pressure, about twice what a carbureted engine does. And so a lot of these connections were clamped just like what you had seen, Eric, on your truck, where they were like factory crimp. in those days, 15 pounds was a lot more than the 7 or 8 pounds they were using before. And I think a lot of that was just ease on the assembly line. But double clamping, yeah, that's fine if you don't have a barb. Single clamps are fine, as long as it's a good quality screw clamp. I've just got single clamps on everything. Where I couldn't, where I had to replace some rubber where there may not have been a bubble or a barb, I think I flared it so that it slipped over a flare so that the clamp wouldn't slip off. And on the return side, of course, the pressure's even less, so that's not a big deal. And the way this fuel system works, it's regulated on the engine, so it delivers from the tank up to the engine, in through the throttle body, I believe, is where the regulator is on these, and then back to the return line, and then back to the tank. So there's no regulator in the tank. The pump is in the tank. I believe this is a Federal Mogul fuel pump from the factory. I rebuilt this module with a Walbro 515, I think it was. That was a kit that we had built for. I had actually engineered the kit for the replacement parts on this. So if you went to your auto parts and you get a replacement kit that has a Walbro pump in it, that was one of the products that I engineered back in the day. So that's what I put in this. And let's show you the special tool for getting the fuel lines off of the module, and a couple of tricks that I've learned when they're rusty crusty and how to get them off. Unfortunately, I don't have the fitting to show you, but I'll try to find a picture and insert it here somewhere so you can see it. And I'll explain how the tool works. So if you're going to do fuel system work on those vehicles, you need at least a set of these. These are for removing. They're for removing those fuel lines. Wow. They're a simple tool that slides over the line, steel line, and slips into the connector, and I'll demonstrate it on the board, to release the fingers that are in there to let it come over the swedge or the bubble that's in the plastic fuel module, and I'll show you that there as well. So yeah, let me get this module right here, and we'll show you what that looks like. This is not the module for that truck, but it's a similar thing where the lines on the truck come out, and I've got some upstairs, but I'm not going to go up there and get one. So you see this little swedgy thing here, this little nipple, okay? And this isn't the right size tool. Let's see if I got the right one here. Actually, we'll do it here. Okay, so you can see that little thing, and you take this tool and you slip it over the plastic, like so, and then you slide it up inside the connector that goes over there, and it pushes the fingers apart that are clamped, and then allows the line to come off. So I'll draw that on the board for you. But you can see how that tool works, and if it's got the ones that have the angle, like I said, I've got some upstairs, but I'm not going to get one. You can get the idea here. Slip the tool over it, okay, and then it slides up inside that connector. It's hard to show you. Slides up inside that connector, like that, and pushes the fingers open for it to allow it to come off. So let's draw that on the whiteboard for you. All right, so we have the nipple coming out of the fuel module. I'm exaggerating it, but this is what it looks like, and here is the barb inside, and then the fuel connector goes over it like this, and it has fingers that come back this way. So this goes to your fuel line and delivers fuel to the engine, or could be the return line, doesn't matter. So your pump is down in here putting out fuel through. And there's, of course, there's a couple of rubber O-rings in here. Now that tool that I showed you is designed to slip in here like this and push these fingers up to release this over that barb so that you can slide that off, if that makes sense. So these little fingers are springy, blink, and so this thing, these little fingers this way, I should say, are springy. They come in. Show them one more time. They come in like this and clamp against that barb that's there, and you can just simply push these with the tool, boom, and push them open so that they clear, and then slide down. Now it goes all the way around, and they get really rusty. So the cure for this, when it's rusty, spray the crap out of it with WD-40 or liquid wrench, and just keep soaking that for a while. Take your air gun and blow in there as much as possible to clear out all that old crap and rust and dirt. Soak it down, blow it, soak it, blow it. You might have to do that for a day or two sometimes, almost always they will come loose. The other thing you have to do when you're taking these off is as you're pushing that tool in, and by the way, they make those same tools, they're there in front of you, you can't see them. They make them out of metal as well. You have to push on the connector while you're pushing that plastic in, so you kind of almost got to squeeze everything together and wiggle it around and hopefully not break that neck off, and then get it off of there. So it's tricky, but I've never had one that I couldn't get off that I recall. Take that back. I had one on a Ford because Ford uses this same design that I couldn't get off. But if you're careful and you work it, you can get it off of there eventually. So that's how those work. These modules are pretty easy to rebuild. The kit is pretty straightforward. If you don't like the kit that has the Walbro pump in it, sorry, I can't do anything about it. I've been out of it for over 20 years. But I've done a lot of them. Obviously, I've done my own. Every vehicle that we brought in the shop when I worked at Walbro, we put up on the hoist. I would personally drop the tank out of it, or at least have a technician drop the tank out of it. And then I would go through the process of replacing the fuel pump to engineer the kit. So step by step, if you read those instructions, they're probably the ones that I wrote. And if you read those instructions, it's step by step. And there was times we would laugh because it would be like, turn this bolt with a 9/16 wrench. Now it's time to cuss because the wrench slipped and you punched the gas tank strap, whatever. I mean, that's the detail I wanted to put into the instructions, but unfortunately corporate wouldn't let me do that. At best, this design was not great when it was new, but it was functional. But of course, as they get 20, 30, 40 years on it, it gets to be even more of a problem. So one of the things that I like to say is they're about as practical as holy toilet paper. You wonder why you're hanging up with a bunch of crap. That's why. They're just not that practical. So, but they do the job. I like the ones that have the push plastic pins through better, but this is what they did. And I get it because it was one less step on the assembly line. Simply snap, click, done, rather than push it on, push a tool through, or push the clip through. So I get it from a manufacturing standpoint, because when we're engineering things in the OE side, we always had to be considerate of not service, but quickest assembly processes, and that's why a lot of things are the way they are in the vehicles. It would frustrate the heck out of me as an aftermarket engineer to why did you engineer this way, but when you work with the engineers on the OE side, and I did on a regular basis, there was always a reason for production why that made sense. And of course, when it comes down to production line, saving 10 seconds on an assembly over the period of a year is saving many, many, many hours of labor. So from a costing standpoint and a vehicle cost standpoint and a profit standpoint, it makes sense. But my thing was always, if you would have just done this, service would have been so much easier. Well, on the OE side, service is not necessarily the main concern. All right, so what's coming on this beauty? Well, we need to do an oil change. We probably need to check the transmission. I noticed it was not shifting exactly right. We need to get tires on it. It needs brakes. It has no brakes at all. I was pulling up here with it earlier, and I was headed for the duster for a second, and I hit the pedal, and I forgot that it's got a blown wheel cylinder and a bad line on the back. So I've got drums and shoes and lines and a new wheel cylinder, and I just gotta get it done. So that'll be coming for an episode soon. Doesn't need much mechanically other than that. Of course, it is calico right now, and we need to do something to fix that and get it one color. Probably just going to go back to black with it. I'm thinking like a satin black, but I need to talk to my delicious goddess and see what color she would like it, because whatever she wants is what she will get. So that'll be the thing. But it really, I was driving it up till the day I stopped, and isn't that a brilliant statement? But it really was. I'd stopped driving it because it blew a wheel cylinder. And so I tore it all apart at that point, fixed the cab corners, fixed the floor, put the new sheet metal on it, and that's about as far as I got. Pulled it out, and it's been sitting ever since. I was going to have my former employee come out and do the brakes and the brake line on it for me. Never could get the schedule coordinated, and it was more on me because I was just so busy. So that's got to get done soon. I'm not 100% mobile yet. So I'm still suffering from those poor decisions, but that's okay. We'll get back around. I'm doing better every day. So more coming on this soon, but it really doesn't need much. I've already put the new radiator in it. It runs good. You notice that the last there, it wasn't ticking anymore. So I've got everything I need times 2 to put this truck back together. 2 grills, tail light sets, I've got a better seat, I think. I've got a better top piece in the roof, the headliner pieces. It's got the square piece that screws up, and all the vinyl is falling off of that. So I'm either going to re-vinyl that, or I'm probably going to use one out of the other truck. We'll see. But it doesn't need much. I have the other box off of the 92 that John's going to help me put on at some point, but I don't think that's going to be a this year project at this point. The goal is to get it on the road. So it literally is prioritize and execute. Do the things that need to be done to put it mechanically together first, then cosmetic, and then of course major tasks like the bed liner or the bed, which is no big deal to swap out. But that's going to involve wiring and all kinds of other things. So that's not top priority. That will probably be one of the last things to happen. Don't be frustrated too much. There's more coming on the Stitches Challenger soon. I got the gas gauge for the 47 Ford. We'll be getting that installed and hooked up, and I'll show you how to go through the process of testing your sending unit on that. A little bit of tech will apply to pretty much any vehicle out there, so there's something you can learn there. Let me know what else you'd like to see, but probably brakes and wheels and tires and stuff like that coming on this one soon, so watch for that episode coming soon. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do hit the bell so you receive those notifications. We're on Instagram and Facebook /MyCarsShop. So thanks for being here, and if you've been around the channel at all, you know how we end it. Let's do this together. Ready? Rock! Don't hate on me too bad. That topper right there won't be there much longer.